Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining today. My name is Amanda Meyer, and I am the Marketing Coordinator here at Estimating Edge. Today, Troy Good, who is our Training and Technical Support Specialist, will be covering an admin portal review. Before we get started, we have a couple housekeeping items. All lines have been muted, and we will answer questions at the end of the webinar. To ask questions, enter them into the question window. Troy, next slide, please. Thank you. I will be sending an email with a recorded link of today's webinar, as well as it's available on demand on our website. After the webinar today, there will be a pop-up window with a 3-question survey. We would love to hear your feedback. Last but not least, don't forget to sign up for the next month's webinar, which is Background Images on October 23rd. Thank you again for joining. Troy, let's get started.
Thank you, Amanda. So today we're going to talk about the administration portal, and we're going to go over some of the useful tools that you have access to on the administration portal. So the administration portal is able to be accessed on any web-enabled device. So any iPad, phone, laptop that you have, you can access it through there. Now, the easiest way to get to the administration portal is if you're actually working inside of the Edge itself, as you can see here on my screen. You can go up to the top right-hand corner and you can click on the gear wheel next to the minimize button. Now, that will open the administration portal in your web browser for you. Now, some of the topics that we're going to talk about today are where you can access the latest version of the program, additional settings that you have for your account, managing your licenses, creating and assigning roles, setting up a new user or managing current users, our new interactive budget report, activating a job for Edge on site, different accounting exports that we have that you guys have access to, and where to access your Edge on site products or projects. So first I want to talk about where you can download the latest version of the program. So when you're at the administration portal here, you can go down to the tile that says App Download. You left click on that tile and it'll open up this dialog box. Now, inside of this dialog box, basically what it's telling you is it's telling you that you have users at your company that aren't upgraded to the same version that you are, or updated to the same version that you're on. Now, it's telling you that you should also have these users update with you, so that way everybody can be on the newest updated version of version 12 in this case. Now, when you want to download it, you'll check the yes box here. And you'll see that we have download version 12.73. Now, that's what you would click on to download the latest version. Another key topic that we want to talk about here are the build notes. Now, the build notes are very important because it's going to tell you exactly everything that we've added to the newest version. As you can see, if we had any bugs, we fixed some bugs here, and it's going to give you all of that information. That way you have access to it and to keep you guys updated on exactly what we're doing inside of the program with each update that we're releasing. So once you click download version 12.73 here, you would run it just like any normal installer on your computer, and then you would be able to proceed into the Edge from that point. The next thing that we want to talk about are additional settings that your company may have access to. So to get there, if you're looking at the home screen, you can click on the settings tile here, and you'll see here that we have collaboration mode, zones, and then if you have purchased the accounting integrations, this is where they will be turned on inside of your company, so that way you could see if you guys have access to them. One other setting that we have that you would turn on for yourself if you go up to add here would be auto pick license. Now what that does is it would automatically pick a license for you when you log into the program. So that checkout screen where you have to check out a license, you would no longer have to see that. This would just automatically select a license for you every time you log in and just take you right into that bid grid screen, so that way you can get to work on those jobs a little bit quicker. Now we want to talk about the licenses themselves and what you can do with them. So we have two functionalities with those licenses. So we go back to the home screen, and we're going to click on the license tile here. Now, there's two functionalities that you have with the licenses. You have reserving a license, and you have checking out a license. And when we go to the licenses themselves, if you click on checkout here, what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to reserve the license for a specific period of time. And you can only go up to a 2-week period. So to do that, you would choose on reserve license. You would choose a date range, so let's just say the 27th here, and then I would choose the user that is going to be taking said license. And what this is used for is if you know you're going to be going to a remote location that's really not going to have reliable internet access or any internet access at all, this would allow you to get into the edge and allow you to work remotely. Now, if you're doing that, we want to make sure that you have your job set up before you leave and all of your conditions loaded into your job. We do recommend, if you're going to be doing that, to try to get your phone to work as a hotspot for you. That way you do have internet connectivity, so that way you can actually access the cloud portion of the edge and be able to make sure that those jobs are saving rather than just on your computer, but also to the cloud itself. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about is reserving a license. So you can actually reserve a license for an individual user. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to basically every time you log into the program, you'll skip past the select the license screen. You won't have to choose a license anymore. It would just automatically default the license to you. So in this case, I choose the license I want to go to the individual. And then where it says reserved for, I click the drop down. I assign it to a person. And then you can leave the note as, standard license or whatever it may be, or you can change it however you see fit. And then you would click save, and then that license would be reserved for that individual every time they logged in. Now let's turn our focus towards roles and creating a role at your company. So there's many different instances where you can create these roles. However, today the role that we're going to talk about would be, say, a junior estimator. So you're going to click on roles from your home screen. And as you can see here, I've already created one. But if I didn't have one here, the way that I would add it would be able to click add in the top right-hand side here. I'd give it the name as junior estimator. The description would be the same as the name. And then the application type is important. Now, the reason the application type is important is because we have the portal, which we're currently looking at, and you have specific roles and permissions you can set there, or you have the Edge Administrator. Now here you have the Edge Administrator. That's the actual client that you download to your computer. So we would select this as the role that we're assigning. Once you have it selected, you would click Add, and it would create it right here. Now the way that you edit it is you come over here to the pencil and paper icon, you click Edit on it, and then you have two tabs. So here we're looking at the Jobs tab. Now what this allows you to do is this user who is going to have this role associated with them, this would be if they had checked out a job inside of the Edge and they were maneuvering through it and working their way through, what permissions do you want them to have? So ultimately, you would go in here, you would toggle on and off what you would want them to have access to be able to do inside of the job itself. You'll also see the database tab here. What this is going to allow them to do is be able to toggle on and off what you want them to be able to do in the database. Now, you can restrict their permissions completely. You can give them a little mobility if you would like. However, ultimately, this is up to you guys and what you decide to do for this role. So once you have your permissions set up and you have everything toggled on that you want, you would simply click Save down here in the bottom. And then it would have that role created for you, and your permissions would be set up. Now we're going to turn to the actual user that you're going to associate this role with. So you would hit the back arrow, and you would click on the user's tile here. So as you can see, we already have quite a few users in here, but if I wanted to add a new one in, I would click the Add button, and then we're going to fill out the information below. So we're going to give them first name and last name, put in the email address. The email address is what they're going to use to log into the Edge and the administration portal. You don't have to put the cell phone number or the cell phone carrier in. If they're going to be an estimator, you will turn Estimator on. And then down here at the bottom, we have account status. So you can give this new user a temporary password, and it will require them to change that at their first login, or you can give them a password you want them to use from here on out. Now, if you're going to give them a temporary password, you would leave this just as require new password. However, if you want to give them a password that they're going to use from the time being until from what you set up into the future, you would simply click the drop down, click active, and then type in the password and confirm the password. Now, the last thing that you have to do before this user can actually be created and go into the application is go to security. And underneath your portal role here, you're going to you don't have to give them a portal role. However, it's very recommended that you do. That way they have access to be able to download the latest version of the program, come in here and be able to do some of the capabilities that we're going to be talking about here very shortly. So you would give them a role, and then you would also come over to the client, and as you can see, we have that junior estimator role that we created. We would give them that as well, click add, and then we would have that new user created. So once you're inside the Edge, we have all of our jobs. Now, we do save those versions of the jobs as backups in the cloud as well, if you have that capability. Now, one thing that is very beneficial with that is the ability to archive a bid. So after a couple years of being in the program, you're going to have a really long list of jobs that you've won, jobs that you've lost, and ultimately you don't even want to see them. But how do you do that in a safe way, right? You still want to hold that information, especially for the jobs that you've won. Well, we have what's called archiving bids. So you can go into the Edge and you can archive a bid, but how do you get it back? Well, to get it back from the administration portal, you click on the bids tile. And as you can see here, when we click that tile, you'll notice that we have a status column. Inside of this status column, you can filter by clicking on status here, and it'll start to show you some additional things. So we have newly added, we have archived, we have closed won, closed lost. All of those are statuses that you can set a job to inside of the Edge. So to simply unarchive the job, all you would have to do is click on status. You would click on the word archived. As you can see, we have an archived job here. And then I just come in here and I choose the status of this. So if I want this to go back into the Edge, I could say, you know, this was a closed won or closed lost. I would click on, say, let's closed lost and save. Now, you'll have to go back and refresh the Edge bid grid screen. But once you do that, you'll be able to see the job information there. You'll be able to access the job as if you had never archived it in the first place. All of your information will still be there as well. So something new that we've actually just released is what we call the interactive budget report. And what you can do is you can come in here into the bids tile, and you can search for a bid that you've worked on. In this case, I have a job for the webinar. I'm going to click on that job underneath the name here, and I'm going to look at this interactive budget report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the interactive budget report, and this is a report that allows you to filter based on page or based on user code. If you have account codes turned on for your company as well, you have that capability to filter there. However, I like to do this report by the page, and then I'm also going to filter it by the user code. And here what I want to look at is I want to look at my total net cost, my totals, and I also want to look at my tax class net cost. So I'm going to go ahead and hit search. Once I select those, it's going to bring this up for me. Over here on the left-hand side, you can see it filtering by my page with my description. And then here you see the user codes that I'm filtering by as well. What this is doing is it's bringing it over, it's bringing in all the material costs that I have as well as my labors. and then it's giving me my total net cost here on the end. We do have a couple more boxes up here that you can check and play with and kind of see exactly what you want to use out here. Once you get comfortable with it out here, you can actually save that as a default right here. And you also have the capability to download this report as a PDF or an Excel document as well up here on the top right-hand side. The next thing that I want to show you can also be accessed from the bids tile here, and that's going to be where to activate a job for Edge on Site. Now, if you don't know what Edge on Site is, please feel free to reach out to your account rep. They'll be glad to show you it and give you a little bit more explanation. If you do have Edge on Site, then this is where you're going to go to activate your job for Edge on Site. And as you can see, we have our Activate for Edge on Site here. So if I click that button, it's going to show me that this dialog box that says, are you sure you want to activate this scenario for Edge on Site? Now, this is telling you that it also will be on your monthly statement if you activate this job for Edge on Site. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and click no, but that's where you have access to activate the job for Edge on Site. And it's very important before you do that you make sure that this status box here is green. If the scenario status box is red, it will not allow you to do that. Also, you can see right here, we have our accounting integration. So we have a Timberline, Plexus, and Foundation accounting integrations. If your company has purchased the capability to integrate with the accounting software, this is where you would go to download the export that you would then import to your accounting software as well. So the final thing that I want to talk with you guys about today is where you can view your Edge on Site projects. So if we go back one more and we look at our home screen here, if you have Edge on Site turned on for your company, you'll actually get an additional tile down here at the bottom. So to access that, you'd simply just click on it. And then if you have projects that are activated for Edge on Site, you would just click this projects tile here, and it would take you into a screen like so. Now, right now, and I don't have any jobs activated for Edge on Site, but if I did, you would see a long list here of the jobs that were working in Edge on Site. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you very much, Troy. We currently do not have any questions, but feel free to ask or email us at marketing@estimatingedge.com. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you have a great day.